9.5, we're going to be graphing tangent. So it says and cotangent, but you can ignore that. We're only graphing tangent in this section. So you can cross off the tangent part on the bottom. We're just the cotangent on the bottom. We're just focusing on tangent. So if you look at our tangent graph here, it looks completely different than sine and cosine. It's totally different shape, and we have these dotted lines in it called asymptotes. The reason that we have those dotted lines is because our graph doesn't exist at these values. So at pi over 2 and negative pi over 2, tangent is undefined at these. So that's why we end up with these dotted lines called the asymptotes. The next slide talks about characteristics of our tangent function. You don't have to worry about the domain or the range. We're just going to be drawing one period of our graph, which I'll show you what it looks like on the next slide. So you really don't have to worry about this. We're just graphing it. So on the next slide, this is what just one period looks like. So it's just one squiggly line here and two asymptotes. So you have to draw the asymptotes. How we come up with where the asymptotes are at is we take whatever's after the tangent. So here it would be b times x. So it'll be whatever that value is of b. And we set it equal to pi over 2. So this is to find the asymptotes. B over x is going to be given. It's just going to be whatever's after tangent. And then we set b of x equal to pi over 2 and solve for x. So we would just have to divide whatever that b is. So that helps us with the asymptotes. We'll have a positive asymptote and then the same exact thing that's negative. And then we need to find key points. So each graph is going to have 3 key points. To find our x value of those key points, we take the asymptote and multiply by 1/2. So we're just cutting it in half because it's halfway in between 0 and the asymptote. So whatever our asymptote is, we take the asymptote and multiply by 1/2 to find the key points. All right, and then to find the y values of our key points, it's whatever the a is out front. So the a in tangent's kind of the same as it was in sine and cosine, but it's not really the amplitude here. It's just the height of our key points. Sure. So the a tells us the height of the key points, and then our graph for tangent, if a is positive, our graph is increasing. We're going to focus on positive ones, so your graph is always going to be increasing. So meaning that it goes from left to right, it's increasing going up. All right, example 1. So we're graphing 2 tangent 3x. So let's start with our graph. What is our a here? 2. So that tells us how high and how low our key points are going to be. So we have 2 and negative 2. Next, to find the asymptotes, we take whatever's after the tangent, so 3x, and set it equal to pi over 2. So how would I solve for x? Divide by 3. What do I do when I have a fraction in a fraction? Keep, change, flip. So I'd make it 3 over 1, but flip it to 1 over 3. So when I multiply here, we get pi over 6. So these are my asymptotes. I'm going to have a dotted line at pi over 6. And what do you think my asymptote on the left side is going to be? Negative pi over 6. Don't forget to put the dotted lines. That is part of your graph. You need the asymptotes. Now, how do we find the key points? What do? We take the asymptote and do what to it? Multiply by 1/2. We are cutting it in half. So pi over 6 times 1/2 would be what? To find the key points. What's pi over 6 times 1/2? Pi over 12. So pi over 12, and what do you think the one on the left is going to be? Negative pi over 12. So that's all we need for our graph. We just need to put our key points. So the one on the right is going to go up top. I'm going to have a key point at 0, 0, and then the one on the left is going to go down low. And then we connect these points with a squiggly line. So your graph has to keep that tangent shape that we saw on the last slide. It's not a straight line. It's like a little snake line. So as you get close to the asymptotes, as your asymptotes go up or down, your line gets really close to them, but it doesn't touch. So if you connected the dots with a straight line like this, that would be wrong. Your line has to have a little bit of curve to it. So we're going to graph number 1 and 4, because those are our tangent ones. So I'm going to start with my graph. What's my A value here? Awesome. If it's not written, it's implied that it's a 1. So I'm going to go up 1 and down to -1. Now, how do I find the asymptotes? So I set 2x equal to pi over 2. Pi over 2. So now to solve for x, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So we're going to change, flip. I keep the top, change to multiplication, and flip it to 1/2. So how would I multiply here? Pi over 4, perfect. So my asymptote's at pi over 4, and what's the asymptote on the left going to be? Negative pi over 4, perfect. Now to find our key points, what do I do? So how do I find the key points? Multiply by 1/2. So we get pi over 8. So my key point is going to be pi over 8. And what's the one on the left going to be? Negative pi over 8. Don't forget to draw your asymptote line. So we got a dotted line where our asymptote should be. And then we can put our key points on the graph. So I'm going to have 1 down low here, 1 in the middle, and 1 up high. And don't forget, your graph has a curve to it. It's not a straight line. That would be our tangent graph. All right, let's look at number 4. So I'm going to draw my graph. What is my height of the graph going to be? 5. So I'm going to go up 5 and down 5. Now, how do I find the asymptotes? So I set pi times x equal to pi over 2. Whatever's after the tangent, that's what you set equal to pi over 2. It's always pi over 2. So we solve for x. I'm going to divide both sides by pi. So x is equal to, got to keep, change, flip. Be super careful with keep, change, flipping. We're going to flip pi to be 1 over pi. Don't do it. What do I do?
Cross out the pi's. So it's just
The pi's cancel, so it would be not 2, 1 over 2, 1/2. So my asymptote's at 1/2. What's the one on the left going to be? Negative 1/2. Now, how do I find the key points? Awesome. We multiply by 1/2. You always multiply because you're just cutting it in half. So you always multiply by 1/2. So what would my key points be at?
1/4.
Perfect. 1/4 and negative 1/4. Awesome. Now we put a key point down low, in the middle, and up high, and draw our tangent curve.